Hey, Margie here. Did you know that sitting in a sauna for just 20 minutes can have major positive health benefits for our bones and overall health? It can help with detoxification, our immune system. And I love when there's something we can do that's easy, but yet very powerful results. So today we're going to delve into the benefits of the infrared sauna. And our special guest is Robyn Openshaw. And Robyn is the author of 15 books, including bestsellers The Green Smoothie Diet, 12 Steps to Whole Foods, and the USA Today and Amazon #1 bestseller, Vibe. Unlock the energetic frequencies of limitless health, love, and success. She is a former psychotherapist, university professor, and lectured in over 450 cities in the 6 years after launching her popular site, greensmoothiegirl.com, in 2007. And today we're focusing on the infrared sauna, and you'll learn all about Robyn's journey and why this is so important to her and how this can help benefit you. So it's full of lots of great information. So stay tuned. Welcome, Robyn. I'm really happy to have you here on the podcast. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So we're talking about saunas, and here you are. You're known as the Green Smoothie Girl, and why do you feel that sauna, if you had to pick one thing, not your green smoothie, but the sauna is the best thing that a person could do for their overall health and wellness?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying this. I could take my laptop in and show you my sauna, but I'm not actually brand pitching. Go make a green smoothie. We don't even sell green smoothies, right? But I've been working all day, and my husband just gave me this green smoothie, and it's like the collards from our garden or whatever. Well, I love a great blender, but if I'm asked what's the most important thing I own for my health, or if I'm talking to somebody about what do you invest in if you want to live a long, healthy, disease-free life, sure, turbo blender for blending up your collards that you grow in your garden and getting them down the hatch without a bunch of salad dressing and other stuff on it. But I don't even know which one I would choose. They're both so important. The other thing really is my infrared sauna, and it's in my house, and I can get in there and raise my temperature 1 degree in a matter of 20 to 30 minutes, which is like, you can't usually just flip a switch and get a fever and burn out a viral infection or a bacterial infection, or, it's very anti-cancer. It hyper mobilizes the immune system. And I have it right in my house, and I get in it like 2 or 3 times a week, especially like fall and winter. And it's just got so many proven health benefits. I consider it one of the most important things I own.
How did you get involved with it? I know you've done so much research, and we'll get into some of that. But how did you first get involved with really just diving so deep into saunas and really investigating it and doing all that research?
Well, I mean, I've been out there for 16 years, since before there was a word influencer. Nobody likes that word, but I don't know what else to call what we do. One of my good friends says that Green Smoothie Girl is like the shortcut to the library. Like, I go do the research and then I deliver to people. Here's what you need to know. There were all these sauna companies, and I wanted to buy a sauna myself because I'd been reading about the health benefits of them. And I had to get well after an injury from a medical product in my late 20s when I was in grad school. And as part of my own journey, I wanted to get a sauna. And I had to go get in. I don't just buy something from a sales pitch. And so I had to go get in all the saunas. I took thermometers in the saunas. I took a tri-field meter to measure the EMF in the saunas. And so that's what I was doing 15 years ago. And I was telling people following Green Smoothie Girl about my journey of deciding which sauna to buy. And I definitely learned, every industry, there's some kind of seedy, shady side. And I definitely learned that there's a lot of people out there making claims about saunas. And I learned, like, what's the most important thing? What are you really looking for when it comes to a sauna? And this is research most people haven't done. And so then I just started telling the Green Smoothie Girl audience about it, 15 and 16 years ago. And then that company, um, eventually went away, but I loved my sauna. And so I do not own the sauna that I like best. I do not own that company, but I was heavily involved in bringing a better, less expensive sauna to market, and letting people like yourself get a discount for the people following them. if it serves them. And right now, I think is a really important time to, you know, get what you want for your health for the long term, because we have a major inflation problem going on in the US, and these supply chains are weird. And so now is a great time to get a sauna. If you guys have been thinking about it, if you've been on the fence, I've never said this before. In 15 years of talking about saunas, this is the time. This is the time. East West transport is becoming a problem. No, nobody's really making saunas in the United States. Time to get one. And have,
Yeah.
you know, you can put it in your garage, you can put it on your back porch, you can put it in the corner of a bedroom. I mean, some people have it literally in their master bedroom. So I've had mine in all kinds of different places in my house.
It's interesting because I am going to buy one. And that's always been my issue that, where am I going to put it in my house? And so you just don't do it, and then you just move on. But after preparing for this interview and I love saunas. I recommend them to patients all the time. So it's just a matter of sometimes we don't practice what we preach. But let's really go into it because a lot of people don't even know the difference between a steam sauna, what they'll get at the health club versus what you're talking about in infrared that has so many more health benefits. So why don't you explain the difference and what are the key features that are increased? I mean, for the people listening to the podcast, I see this as a huge win-win because not only is it detoxifying, which we need for our bones, there's so many toxins, heavy metals, things that affect our bones, but also our immune system is so essential and it just has so many benefits. So why don't you share with us the difference between just what you get in the health club versus this infrared sauna?
Yeah, the first time I got into sauna, it was at the gym, and I knew enough to know raising my temperature, opening up my pores and sweating, good for detoxifying, releasing a lot of toxicity. I knew just enough to know, you know what, our bodies are being assaulted with more chemicals than our elimination systems can usually release. And so then we just get this increasing toxic body burden, and like your lymphatic system and your cardiovascular system, your kidneys, your liver, they're all, so many of your organs are heavily involved in eliminating the metabolites of our food, and all these chemicals are trying to get rid of them. Sometimes our body needs a little help in this very strange world where we have 80,000 chemicals approved for use in our air, water, food products. So I got in the steam sauna at the gym many years ago before I bought my own sauna, and it heats the surface of my skin and it makes me feel panicky. And then I don't really get my body temperature up before I'm just my hair is all wet and I'm all clammy, but I don't actually see an increase in my temperature. So it's a good idea. And it's also a total, if anybody doesn't like the idea of all the germs that grow in this wet, humid, hot climate, wasn't a huge fan of that. And then I would have to get in my car from the gym and drive home in the freezing cold. And I was like, oh, I noticed that I never did that again, even though I meant to, and I thought it was good for me. Well, when I got in an infrared sauna, it was such a different experience because there's no water involved. And so you're not creating this environment that's going to grow mold and yeast and bacteria. And the sauna that I like is made of cedar, and cedar is very naturally antimicrobial. And so, and it doesn't grow mold. And so I'm also looking for, if I'm going to be in a little box and there's electronics in there, I want it to be super, super low EMF. That matters for the health of your bones. We don't know what the impact is on our bone density of being exposed to all these, sort of low grade radioactive frequencies, from the electricity in our walls to the, all the devices that we use. I mean, I mean to get the devices out, but I've got a laptop right here. I've got a phone really close to me, and they're not always on airplane mode, right? And so, we have to take some measures to deal with these. And so the infrared waves from your infrared sauna actually penetrate really deeply, so they get you really sweating quickly, and you just have this river sweat, but you don't feel uncomfortable. You don't feel like you have this steam bombarding your whole body. There's no panicky feeling. It's, you're just like, whoa, in 5 minutes, I am pouring sweat. And I'm a person who could run a 10K and not sweat at all. Like I'm not dripping sweat. Some people sweat easily. I just didn't sweat. And the sauna has actually taught my body to sweat. And you want your body to sweat. Like that's not a good thing. I mean, it might be like ladylike or something, but eliminating toxins through sweat is the number one way your body gets rid of these chemicals that we all have too many of. And so the sauna, there are actual benefits of infrared waves, but those are secondary to just opening up the pores and dumping out toxins. People have collected their sweat in an infrared sauna and sent it into a lab and found literally like massively higher amounts of heavy metals, plastics, parabens, like all the categories of toxins, and compared it to sweat that you have not from the sauna. And people just are pouring out toxins from being in an infrared sauna.
Wow. And in the world we live in, unfortunately, it's a toxic world. So even when we try our best, that's so wonderful that it can do just something funny. I always liked the steam saunas until I got really sick. And I rarely ever get sick. And, and I realized there were people sitting there and it was that steamy, and I could totally relate getting ill to that. After that, that was the end. I couldn't ever go back.
You went and got in the steam sauna when you were sick. That's when I went to the steam sauna too. So I wonder if we're getting into steam sauna with a bunch of other sick people spreading.
I was actually well. No, I was well. And I attribute the steam sauna to getting me sick because I was feeling great. And then it was like the next day, I'm like, what's going on? And there were people in there. And I thought, it was so humid, exactly the environment to spread whatever. So after that was the end. That was the end. I said, you know what? I just can't in good faith. Cause it took me a couple of days to get better. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Well, maybe you were at the gym when I came because I was sick and I just wanted to stimulate my immune system. And anyways, I'm sorry if that happened.
But yes, this is so important. So what you're saying is, I just want to make sure the important thing is that we get the temperature up so that we sweat to get rid of the toxins.
I haven't even mentioned that, but that's in my research journey that I shared with people 15, 16 years ago. And then every year I promote saunas now because they're so powerful for our health. A lot of people aren't getting cardiovascular exercise, and it's a passive way to get exercise. But sorry, what was the question? Because now I don't want to go down the cardiovascular route.
I was just talking about the most important things. So the most important things you're talking about, that in order for the detoxification, we need the sweat. Yeah. So we need to get the temperature.
You were talking about the temperature.
Yeah.
So one of the most important things I learned looking at all kinds of different brands is that most of the brands are being sold when it comes to infrared saunas. They aren't getting hot enough. And I won't mention the brand that gets up to 150 on the actual thermostat, but I've taken a thermometer in there and found that it doesn't get up past 135. Well, I don't sweat in their sauna for whatever reason. I do not sweat at that temperature. I've been in their saunas, not just one or two, probably 6 or 8 of them. I even flew to that company. They wanted me to look at their sauna and consider telling my audience about their sauna. And I got in the sauna the day that I flew out there, and then I got in the sauna the next day, and they were very nice to me, and their sauna is very beautiful. And I was totally open-minded to them having a better sauna, but I had to tell them, and it was very awkward and uncomfortable because I'm like in their town. They've like wined and dined me. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I can't promote your sauna because I didn't sweat like at all, like not one drop. And that was my experience with probably 6 or 8 different model, like, not just one of their saunas. Cause I asked them, I got out and I was like, is it broken? Or maybe it's broken because I didn't sweat at all. And they said to me, it doesn't matter if you sweat, as long as you're just getting the infrared waves. That's the powerful part. It's not though. It's not. The thing that is powerful, the number one thing, don't get it mixed up. The number one thing, because the marketers will tell you it's the infrared waves. It's the sweating. Okay, so the infrared waves, they are secondary, and they do have very important health benefits, and they make it a much more comfortable experience to sweat like crazy. But really, the biggest thing is that it's such a gift to be able to dilate your pores, your thousands of pores, and just pour out toxic sweat. And so 170 degrees, why that's important, and the sauna that I like, and helped bring to market to bring the price down and to increase the quality. And so it's low EMF. There's that's cedar wood that doesn't mold. It's doesn't have any sprays on it. It's not off gassing anything. There's no wood glues off gassing anything, little parts with wood glue, none of that. And I helped bring it to market because I wanted one that gets to 170 degrees. Because if you go out and you look at in the literature what it says about the health benefits of infrared saunas, all these studies that are showing all these cardiovascular benefits, all these immune benefits, all these anti-aging beauty benefits, and more, all these studies are done at over 160 degrees. So somebody who's selling you a sauna that gets to 135 degrees and it says 150, but it's really 135 in there. I mean, there might be health benefits to that, but I don't want to pay $8,000 for a sauna that isn't going to get the therapeutic benefit of a sauna that gets to 170 degrees. So like, don't settle for less than 170 degrees.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So can you be more specific on some of the immune, some of the actual findings? Because it's really startling, I think. It's hard to believe you can sit in something for a short period of time and reap so many benefits.
Yeah. And what's so great about saunas is you don't really have to take somebody's word for it. You don't have to listen to some marketing pitch and hope that their supplement or their gadget or their gizmo is going to help your health. Like, you can see it. You can literally, I get in my sauna and I'll take my heart rate. I have a resting heart rate of 50. And when I go to give blood or have to get a lab test or whatever, they always like want to do it again. I'm like, no, I'm not dead. That wasn't wrong. My resting heart rate really is 48 or 50. I'll get it. It'll be 50. 25 minutes later, when I get out, it's at 90. That's the same that happens after an hour on that arc trainer. And you're probably thinking that's weird that the arc trainer's in the living room, but it wouldn't go through the doorway when we moved in. So that's weird. I have an arc trainer in my living room here. But yeah, so that's the cardiovascular equivalent of, for me, an hour of cardio. So, and I'm getting it for 30 minutes sitting in the sauna, and people can lose 600 calories in 30 minutes. That's crazy. Like, that's a 5-mile jog, and so there's that. And that is immune stimulating all by itself, just because you're just, increasing cardiovascular flow, which is just so stimulating to the immune system. But the big thing is, when you can raise your core body temperature by 1 degree, which you can do in 30 minutes in the sauna, that's like getting a minor fever. And, young moms are told, if your child gets a fever, it must be a Tylenol deficiency. You need to give your child some Tylenol. I mean, they don't really say that, but, so we've been wrongly trained that a fever is your enemy. You don't want your child to get a fever, because what if it gets out of control? Well, it almost never does. And so a fever is your best friend. And I learned that from a book by a pediatrician. Well, it's called, it's Robert Mendelsohn, and it's called How to Raise a Healthy Child Despite Your Pediatrician. And it's by a pediatrician. And that was one of the things he taught me is, let your child have a fever. A fever burns out infection. And when your body has a fever, it's your body's natural defenses to assist the immune system. So when you get a fever, I have looked at live blood before and after a sauna session. I went to Switzerland every year for 10 years before the stuff of the last 2 years, and nobody would go and we had to cancel it. I take people to Switzerland and I look at their blood under high power microscope, and the MDs there in Switzerland have shown me this. Look at 1 drop of live blood and you can see the white blood cells, and they move super slowly. Well, these are the guys that are supposed to be gobbling up all the debris in your blood and getting rid of the undigested proteins and, breaking down tumor tissue. We all grow cancer cells every day, and our immune system has to manage that and break it down and get rid of it. Getting rid of breaking up bacterial and viral infections. So I've looked at live blood analysis before the patient gets in the sauna, and after. And what happens is, because our cells are optimized at 98.6 degrees, right? Like that's a normal healthy temperature. But immune cells, like white blood cells, those little Pac-Men, they're going around cleaning up all the garbage. They're your defenses, they're your main defenses. They are optimized at 104 degrees. So again, a fever or raising and you don't have to get to 104 for it to be beneficial. Raising it a couple, 2, 3, 4 times a week in the sauna, you are getting those same effects, but in a more gentle way. Because if you had 104 degrees fever, we've all had one, right? Like you go to bed, like you're out for the day, right? So raising your core body temperature 1 degree, it turns those white blood cells. So then I've looked at this exact same person, including myself, after a sauna session, and they're going like this. They go from being sluggish to, once your body temperature is up, they're just rapid little Pac-Men running around gobbling up more garbage. And so that's just an example of one of the mechanisms of action that help your immune system. There's also that hormetic stress. It's kind of like pushing your body's immune system. It's kind of like exercise for the immune system, and then you come back to normal after the sauna session. So hormetic stress and the heat shock proteins that your body produces are very much, it's like lifting weights for the immune system. And then there's in addition to your white blood cells, there's several types of white blood cells that get really mobilized in this experience of being in the sauna. You also have hypermobilized your killer T cells. So most people are aware that that's a really important, function of your immune system as well. So, I mean, the amount of research on how your immune system is benefited by infrared sauna therapy is volumes, just volumes. There's people who've written entire books to review the literature of how much good you can do for your body by just getting in the sauna. I mean, if you and I lived in Finland, we'd be more likely to own a sauna than a car. There's more saunas than cars in Finland. So
that's hysterical. I would never know that. Wow. So a couple things, like logistically, okay, how many minutes is recommended that you're in the sauna to reap these benefits?
When you start out, it might kind of like wipe you out the first time or two. Like if I don't get in my sauna all through the summer, because I'm outside a lot and I'm getting natural sweating and I don't want to in the summer, right? When I go to get in my sauna for the first time in the fall, or like the first time I ever got in a sauna, like 15 years ago or whatever, you might feel kind of wiped out. So you might want to start, if you buy a sauna in this group buy deal where people who are following you get, I think, $700 off. They get a whole bunch of freebies, like $2,000 worth of freebies, free shipping, which is a pretty big deal with the price of gas these days. I'm amazed that they're still even doing that. So everybody should jump on that. You're just getting all those benefits in 20 to 30 minutes a day, but some people might need to start at 15 minutes. And maybe don't start at 170 degrees and stay in there for 30 minutes. That might be a lot for you at first, but you just kind of increase your tolerance and don't go past 30 minutes. You don't need to be in there longer than 30 minutes. You're going to literally have a pool of sweat under you after 30 minutes. In fact, I always take a towel around me in there and I'm always mopping up the sweat and mopping up the sweat. Sometimes I'm only in there for 20 minutes. So start a little bit shorter and not quite as high of a temperature and then work your way up. But, if you can tolerate it, do it at 170 degrees and do it for up to 30 minutes.
And then afterwards, so a couple things, we're a big being filled with nutrients. And obviously, if you're sweating it out, it's going to deplete your nutrients. So what's your recommendation so that you don't deplete too many nutrients? Do you add something? What's your recommendation on that?
I have a fulvic and humic acids, which is minerals that if you put it in water, drink it in the sauna, drink it after the sauna or whatever, it does, with sweat comes out minerals.
Right.
So if you have a mineral product you like that's organic and it's not made of chalks or rock ground up, which is most mineral supplements. So if you have a good fulvic and humic acid product, that's my favorite. But for the most part, just your green smoothie, your healthy diet too, is replacing your minerals. But, you know, nothing wrong with supplementing with some really high quality organic plant-based mineral compounds.
Okay. And then a silly question, you know how your immune system is helped when you go in a hot shower and then you switch to a cold shower and then you switch back and forth. Do you recommend getting in cold after this?
You will feel like $1,000,000 if you put totally cold water in your bathtub and put a 20-pound bag of ice in there. Get in your sauna for 20 minutes. Get out of the sauna and get in your freezing cold bathtub. Yes, I know it sounds terrible. You will feel like you're on drugs. You're like high, like you're flying. So yeah, that's such a great thing to do. And I was doing that for a while. Please lock your pet out of the ice bath. It was a tragedy and I'm scarred by it. So lock your pet out of where your ice bath is. So I lost a cat to that. So
Oh,
I have issues about it. I need to get back to it. I think I'm over it. It's been a couple of years, but that was a terrible, terrible thing that happened. But I was doing it. I was enjoying it. I loved how I felt. So get out of your sauna, get into your ice bath, and like just stay there as long as you can stand it. If it's 60 seconds, great. If it's 90 seconds, even better. I mean, Wim Hof swims in an icy cold river, right? If he can do it, like it's not gonna kill you. But it is like, I'm freezing. And then get out and get back in your sauna until you're pouring sweat again and you feel like your temperature's back, and then get back in that ice bath. If you want to, you can go back and forth a couple times. It is the best stimulation. It's so great for your thyroid, stimulating for your sluggish thyroid. A lot of us have a taxed, overwhelmed, backed up thyroid. It's again so good for your cardiovascular health. It's like that hormetic stress. It's like that brief shock to the cardiovascular system, not a bad kind of shock like a car accident, but like a good kind of shock like exercise. And you'll love it. If you're up for a challenge, like it's not for everyone to get into a bathtub full of ice water, but fantastic idea. Very
yes,
good
I'm
idea.
gonna have to try it because I love going from hot to cold. I do that in the shower all the time. Really warm and then cold and back and forth, and you feel great. So I can imagine that must be like that, taking that experience on steroids.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of the ultimate. It's like next level. I do that too. I've been doing that in the shower too. I had forgotten about it for a long time, and lately I've been at the end of my shower in the morning after I work out, I get in the shower and I just at the end of it I just put it on full blast cold. And you have to just do it a few times to realize like, okay, I'm going to survive this. This will be fine. It's not that bad. And then it's worth it for how great you feel afterwards. So there's how you feel, but it's also just really good for you.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's great. And so interesting. What have you seen with weight loss? Because as you're saying, you can burn all these calories. And what's your experience been with people you've worked with the weight loss?
I haven't like had people measure their weight loss, but I mean, we know that if your heart rate's going to go from 50 to 90 in 30 minutes, that's what happens when you go for a jog or you get on the arc trainer. So it really does. There's a paper published in JAMA, and JAMA is Journal of American Medical Association. It's the most prestigious medical journal in the world. And it showed the 600 calories in I can't remember if it's a 25-minute or 30-minute sauna session, but
Wow.
there's a lot of studies, and you can give your link to the webinar that people can jump into the webinar, and it's like more of what we're talking about, but I'm showing slides and I'm taking you through each category of health benefits and what the actual published literature says about everything from, regenerative medicine, health and beauty, skin health, all the way to immune function, cardiovascular health. I actually don't think I talked about it, but there is evidence that I don't think I talk about it in the webinar, because I literally, to do the webinar in an hour, I had to cover so much stuff that I think I dropped bone health. So, but you know what? Your bones are part of you. Your bones are affected by the toxicity, as you mentioned earlier. And A lot of these toxins are being incorporated into calcified bone matter, and that's hard to get rid of. So let's just get it out of us in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of reasons. Look, as you said, the bones are just part of, they're not in isolation. When something's going on with your bones, there's things going on with your whole body. So I see the detoxification as absolutely huge, really huge. And yes, the heavy metals, that's a big issue. That's a big issue because it replaces a lot of the nutrients and the minerals in the bones. So I see that as number one. Number two, inflammation and your immune system. There's a huge relationship when there's inflammation and bone health. So anything we can do to reduce inflammation, to reduce, to improve our immune system is going to be beneficial. So on so many ways. Plus, we didn't even talk about something, Robyn, that I think is so important. And this is one of my things that I always work with everybody on is stress reduction, because stress has such a negative effect, and cortisol on the osteoblasts, the bone building cells. It really reduces their activity. And so the sauna has such fabulous effects on relaxation.
Yeah, it does. We look forward to it. I'll go in to turn the sauna on at night. And most of the time my husband's already done it. And I'm like, oh, cool. It's already at like 150 degrees. I only need another 10 more minutes and I can get in there. And we do it for how we feel in the short term too. It's not just we're doing this for our long-term, health, and because we know that it's eliminating toxins. We do it because we feel so peaceful and calm afterwards. It actually causes your body to produce dopamine. So, I mean, everybody's chasing dopamine. We want dopamine from substances and sex and being in the sunshine and so many things. It's why people eat foods that are bad for them, because they just want the dopamine hit. Well, what if you can get dopamine from something that's already good for you anyway on every single level? So it's serotonin. Your body produces serotonin. It's that happy hormone, that calm, relax. And I don't know about you, but I see a lot of people in a lot of stress these days.
Oh my goodness, it's never been higher. Yes. It probably helps sleep then too.
That's the thing. People are always like, well, what time should I get in? Well, anytime you want, but we like to get in the sauna and then go to bed and just, take a quick shower, just water. You don't need to get all soapy or anything. Maybe a little bit of soap, and then just go to bed. And it makes us just fall asleep quickly and sleep so deeply. Like you just had a big release from your body. You feel so good coming out of the sauna. There's nothing like it. We think of it as our little retreat in our house. And it also gives us a chance to connect at the end of the day. I'm just so like frazzled that like it's something to look forward to. Like my crazy, crazy work days. I've been working 14 and 16 hours a day for 2 years now. And just to stop and have that sauna time is a great time to just trapped in a little box with my husband. So it's fun.
And how much
It's fun.
how much space is needed for that sauna?
I'm not sure in feet, but most people get the hybrid, which seats 2 people comfortably. If I get in there and he's not in there with me, I can lay flat, and I'm almost 5'9". I can lay flat and put my legs up on the wall. I'm perfectly comfortable in it. You can get a bigger one. I think for the season, they might be sold out of one of the bigger ones. I think they might only have hybrids left. But the nice thing about the hybrid is not only can 2 people sit in there, and people who think that they're going to get in there with 3 and more people, I don't find that you do, because you got to like round up family members or whatever. Like
Plus, who has that much room to put it? It's nice that it's
right.
small and it can fit places. Yeah.
And well, so the other thing that's nice about the hybrid, it seats 2, but it can just plug into a regular wall outlet. If you get the bigger ones, you have to get an electrician to come run. Like it has to have its own on your breaker. It has to have its own. You can't like turn on a computer in that room and the sauna, and you have to do an upgrade that'll probably cost you $500 or $600.
Oh, wow. So this you plug into the wall.
Yep.
And you even can put it outside. You were saying that?
Some people put it outside. The only thing about putting outside is we highly recommend you cover it, because it's going to take damage from sun, wind, rain. And if you live in a very cold place and you're wanting to get in the winter time, Your sauna may have a harder time. It may take longer to get to 170 degrees. So like if you live in Minnesota and you're going to put it outside in January, it's not, that wouldn't be my first choice if you live in a very cold place, but you can. And I have had my sauna I probably moved 6 times in the last 8 years. So I've had my sauna anywhere from the garage to the basement to right now it has its own bedroom with
Ah,
some exercise equipment. But I'm an empty nester now, so I can do that. And I haven't always had the space for it, depending on what house I'm in.
yeah, because I live in New Jersey, so I don't think outside. I'm thinking the basement is the good thing, and
Hmm.
then just run
Yeah,
upstairs to the bathroom.
exactly.
But at least it doesn't take up too much space. So that's sort of to me, that's a nice thing about it.
We don't have basements here in Florida, so we have fewer options. But I could have put it outside in the garage here because it doesn't get very cold here, but we had room for it.
Yeah, yeah, no, that sounds great. So is there anything else that you want to share? I know we'll have the webinar that people can go to that really gives them more information, but is there anything else that you want to share with everybody?
Watch the webinar. People often tell us they take notes because I'm just going through the research. I don't think you'll find it boring at all. I tell you stories in between the pieces of evidence, but
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much for doing all this work. And I guess the other part that I like so much is that, being an integrative health coach and physical therapist, and that the safety measures, you don't have the EMFs, and you're not using supplies that are going to off gas. And I think that's so important. And not everybody has that mindset when they're creating different products. And I think that's so important. And it makes it, because I think it's sad if here you're doing something good, but yet then you're breathing in things you don't want to. So I think that's really wonderful that you've used your
you know what
knowledge.
else?
Yeah.
What to your point, like a lot of the things that we're doing for our health, we have to keep buying it every month. Like you think about people's probiotics or their mineral supplement or whatever. Like when you buy your sauna, like you're good. Like you're going to use that sauna for life, and you don't have to keep paying more money, right? You don't have to be on auto ship. You don't have to go find it at the store. You have this little sanctuary in your home, and we just love it. And you know what? The reason I've been talking about it for 15 years, I didn't intend to, is that um, people just love their saunas. Like I've never met anybody who doesn't want to just gush about how glad they are they got a sauna.
That's so funny. Yeah. The other thing is, it's not like I was thinking of, I have different filters in the house, and you have to change the filters, and you have to have the maintenance on things. So there really isn't maintenance on this. Yeah.
Nope, don't need any. There's no filters. There's no nothing. And people are like, what do I do to clean it? And I'm like, I just wipe up my sweat with a towel when I leave. I'll clean the glass once in a while. Inside of the glass, it'll get steamy or get fingerprints on it. But there's no maintenance, none.
Yeah, no, that's great. Oh, wow. All right. Well, you have me as a customer now, and then I can let everybody know.
People
but
love your sauna.
but no, it's just, I just wanted to share this with everybody because it's something that has so many health benefits, and it's not a hard thing to do. I'm a big person in what can we do to improve our health, and this is something that we can do. So
Yeah,
it's,
and so many
yeah.
people can't go out and exercise. They might live in a inner city. They might have mobility issues. They might, be older. Anybody can get in a sauna, and you're getting the benefits, like not necessarily like the bone density benefits of the impact. I guess you could take some hand weights in there too, but um,
I don't
anybody,
recommend that. Yeah.
right? Probably not. It's probably a little too much. Like that's like too much hormetic stress
Yeah, yeah.
at the same time. But I just want to point that out. Well, you did that. Anybody can do this. It's something you can do passively. You don't have to be able to jog to get the benefits of it, kind of thing. So it's great for people later in life and just people looking to invest in their health.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for explaining all the differences so we understand, because knowledge is power. And I think, you can hear something's good, but to really understand why and the benefits are so very helpful. So thanks for all the work you've done and for giving us this great offer. And we'll keep in touch. Thanks so much. And I'll let you know
Okay.
how it
Thank
goes for
you.
mine. Thanks so
So great
much.
to talk to you all. Bye now.
I hope you learned some new things about the infrared sauna and now have a better understanding of why it can be such a great tool in terms of helping with detoxification, immunity, and really help our bones and overall health. All the links that Robin talked about, including the link to the webinar, which goes into more detail about this, will be in the show notes. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.